Hey, I'm responding to William Crawford's question where he asked that in a society that is there's no reputable, believable, and trusted securitizing actors, how would you securitize something? And his example was in the U.S. around 1776, at the time of the American Revolution, and I believe that there still is always a set of political elites. There's always securitizing actors. There's always a group or a organization that can claim the ability to do that. You know, in authoritarian dictatorships, in the textbook it says on page 134, it says that in a non-democratic society that the audience is just now smaller. Instead of appealing to society as a whole and to convince them that a referent object is facing an existential threat, you just have to convince the political elites only, or just the military. So once you've convinced them, then they've given you the approval to go ahead with extraordinary measures to securitize an issue. So around 1776, I don't think that the political elites of George Washington, John Adams, Sam Adams, Thomas Jefferson, Alexander Hamilton, I don't think any of those people were trying to convince every single colonist that there was a, existential threat, because there was plenty of colonists that were loyalist. So they just had to convince the political elites, the heads of the colonies that were supportive of them and their cause, leaders in those communities. So just the elites in their circle were needed to convince that they needed to securitize the situation in the revolution. And I think that that explains that, there's always going to be securitizing actors there's always going to be an audience. It just depends on how wide or how narrow your audience is. And he also asked, how does one adequately understand the implications of the lack of securitization when it is in fact needed and necessary? And referencing back to what I said earlier, I don't think that there'll ever be a lack of an audience. It's just how important that audience is and how wide and narrow it is when it comes to convincing them. Thanks.